them to enjoy me here. The CEO of Iervolino, and he's a founder also, Andrea Iervolino, Iervolino Studios, Iervolino and Lady Bacardi Entertainment, Tata2, and Space 11, and Peter Nalli, head of animation and VFX at Iervolino and Lady Bacardi Entertainment. Thank you and enjoy this session.
Thank you, everyone. So today, my team asked me to speak about what I believe is next and what we are doing. To get there, I would like to tell you where I come from, and because a little bit what Marco said in his amazing story, I think the challenge is the best part of any business, no? And because from challenge you learn. So I started the movie when I was 15, and now I'm able to speak, but at that time I had a very huge stutter. I don't know if you're familiar what a stutter is. So basically you cannot speak. So to make you understand the level of challenge I had at that time, when I was going inside of a bar to try to order a cappuccino, because my study was mainly with k, p, t. So I was in front of the coffee shop saying, oh, I would like to have a cappuccino, and then a latte macchiato, because the k was not going out, no? So now I hate latte macchiato. I don't like latte macchiato because I was obligated to have this latte macchiato all the time, no? So, and this is the funny part, but actually my study was so bad that at the age of 6, when I started my elementary school, after 6 months, the director in my school sent a letter to my mother to say, please, your son must be moved in the special handicap mind school for people. So my mother refused that because she knew my stutter actually came from a trauma which we had at home. So in the end, so to make you understand how bad was my childhood time, no? So I didn't have any friend. But with my two best friends, which they are not here now, but they are still in the company, of course, we started this adventure. Now, why these two guys? They were my two best friends, because one, his name was Benedetto, and he was 1'42", so very short. Now he's 1'55", so a little bit taller, and he was 150 kilograms. So I don't know if you can see the size, but he was unable to touch his own belly, no? So it was a very big guy. And the other one, his name was Rinaldo. They are very good people in our company. And he had another speech problem, which in Italy we call la R moscia. So he cannot pronounce the letter R, and his name was Rinaldo, and he was cross-size. He still had the same issue. He's an amazing guy. So the three of us, we decided to produce movie. And this is, so what we did in order to start, we did what today they call crowdfunding. So in my hometown, in Cassino, where I was born, we went door by door to the pizza guy, the gelateria guy, etc., to ask small little money to invest in our movie, like what they do now in internet, no? And all movie at that time for us costed how much was costing at that time the films, you know, because now you should move in digital, but at that time should move in digital was something which you should not do, you cannot do, was not possible. And so the whole movie which we had done was costing only like the films, no? So which other producer was using. So and then at that time I invented a new distribution model in my country, which was in the morning in the cinema, because I didn't have access to the classic normal distribution. And then 2 years later, at the age of 17, I realized digital is the next big things. So what I did, because came from a challenge, I realized was becoming the new way to shoot movies. And at the age of 17, I met, when I was going to speak with important movie director, and I was giving them the possibility to say, my name is Andrea, I'm a movie producer, we can do movie in digital camera, we have two types of camera, one is called Canon, one is called Red. They were telling me, what did you say? I say, we have two digital camera, one is called Red, one is called... And I say, sorry, what did you say? I say, we have two digital camera. And then at the time, number 3, their answer was, go out from my office, I will never do. So basically, they'd say what I was doing was cheap, was not good, and they will never shoot in their life a movie with a digital camera. Now, after many years, I ask you, how many movies are shot in digital and how many in films, in the old-fashioned, in your point of view, in percentage? 0.001% are shot now in films, and all the other in digital. So you have really a few movie directors in the world which is still doing moving films. Now Kodak gift the pellicola, the film, to basically, the world changed so much. But at that time, it was considered a super bad thing, specific in our industry where everyone have a big ego, no? Wherever you go to speak with, they have a huge personality, so the point is at the age of 17, I started push this system in my country, because as what the lady which was sitting here before, I don't remember her name, she say, you need to educate a market when something is so new. So in my country, I started to try to educate the market, how amazing actually is to know how big is the possibility of shooting a movie in digital. And actually at that time, now not anymore, we were able to shoot the same level of quality of movie with 17 people as a key crew member, when the minimum union crew should be 54. So we were able basically to do a movie which to another producer was costing like, let's say, €1 million, below the line, the technical budget. We were able to do that with 330,000 euro. So we were doing 3 times less, but that actually was illegal. So I went to convince the union in my country to say, we can do the same movie in digital. And I was explaining, this is the digital camera, this is the cameraman, why I need 2 guys to help him? This is so little. So in the end, I was able to convince them, and they thought it was such a small thing. This guy, which was the president of Andrea at the time, his name is Riccardo Tots, he signed the deal in 1 minute. Say, okay, this is such a small, stupid thing. Do this movie, this is a young guy. And actually, that was for me the access to then produce 22% of total movie in my country in 2 years. So we get the whole market because of that. So, but then, thanks God, which was not good for me, but thanks God for the innovation of the industry, the government in Italy and in many other countries, they started to put a digital tax for cinema. So they were basically gifting money in order to digitalize the cinema. So to don't do the distribution anymore with la pizza, so the films, the big, which we call a pizza, which is not the pizza which we eat, but with a USB, and now is online actually. So as soon as I saw that, I say, this is not the future anymore. This is my past, because now in 2 years this will become new normality. And at that time, I decided to go to live in Canada because my mom was born in Canada. I said, now I would like to do a movie in USA, not in my country anymore. Because until that day, my only international experience was a movie with Al Pacino called The Merchant of Venice. I don't know if you know this movie, The Merchant of Venice. It's a nice movie, was okay, successful, but was the only international experience I had until that time. And all my other movies were just Italian. And then I say, okay, I want to start produce movie now in USA and understand what is next. Then Peter will tell you the story about the animation studio in Canada, and which is basically the extension of what was the beginning of the extension which we were doing now in Serbia. But outside of that, all the time, I ask to myself what we can do more, what can be next, what is the next big things, no? And in this evolution, as I told you before about the quota system, no, the distribution quota access. So we started that strategy. As I learned how they produce independent producer movie in USA, I realize now how I can make an advantage outside of this model by bringing the same things in Europe, in this small country. Because in the end, I come from a little village. In my area, we were 300 people, including cow, if you count them as a people. So, I come from a very small village. So I believe, actually, that you can do things and idea from small place, and you don't need to be in New York or in LA, etc. So I learn what I had to learn, and then I say, now let's export these things in many other countries. So in the end, our company now is considered the #1 in my country, and we are considered one of the top 10 in the world in what we do in the independent industry. But what I did, it was really simple. I say, okay, I see there is a lot of density of production in USA, but platforms are starting exporting at that time, starting open in many other countries. So it's very logic that they will get, so they will need local product, or what is legally called local product. The same example I gave before for China, now I give you another example in Europe. In Europe, all the streaming platforms are, so whatever, if they are local or not, when Netflix open a platform in Italy or in Paris, in UK, so they need to, in UK not anymore now, but they need to respect an European law which impose them to invest 30% of their budget in what is called local content. So basically, if they do an income of 1 billion, they are obligated to spend 300 million in local content. Now, what is the definition of a local content? Anyone know what is the definition? It's not the language, but is a point system. So basically, the government in Europe, which is imposed by all the other states in Europe, they have a point system where you can classify that product as a local content or not. So we produce basically local content, but so we respect all that point system. We give a possibility to local people basically to be the behind the scene of the movie, to do the lead part of the movie, like the DOP, the director, the cameraman, etc., etc. But our movie, actually, if you look at our movie, they look like a movie produced by Disney or by Warner or by international company, because we use big movie stars. So in the end, all these companies, when they have in front of them two products, for example, a movie with Morgan Freeman, which is an action movie produced by us, and another produced by an independent in USA, they buy our movie, because we fit in that obligation quota investment, which they have to spend the money in any case. So in the end, and now this is becoming a new normality again, because every time we invent something, it becomes a new normality. And then I say, in 2018, I say, what can be the next big things in the world which does not exist yet, or can be an extension of what already existed? And now I connect the discussion with what I was saying at the beginning about digital video content and basically e-commerce and the acquisition of product online. So you are familiar with what is a free TV channel, no? Free TV channel. So free TV channel, the most famous free TV channel in Serbia is, how is it called? Oh, here, I don't know. So in Italy, the most famous one is called Canale 5. You know what is a Canale 5? Is a channel, is a cable channel where you watch whatever, and it's free. You have advertising so interruption. That business is based on selling advertising, so attached to video content, and people watch that channel for free. No? So the extension, in 2008, was invented the AVOD, Advertising Video on Demand, which is exactly the same, but in internet. YouTube is like a free channel in internet, but it's called AVOD, Advertising Video on Demand. Now, if you think about Netflix is the extension of the pay TV. Sky, for example, you know Sky was one of the first pay TV channel, the largest pay TV channel. So Sky is the old-fashioned business model of today Netflix. But if you think deeply about this is exactly the same business model from analogic to basically digital, from cable to internet. No? And in my point of view, I say, this cannot be the future. I say, this, what I say in 2018, which actually have happened now, I say, the SVOD cannot be the future because it's a copy of an existing business model which got his maximum extension and then started to crash, like the pay TV, no? So my thought became the following one. Let's go back now in 2004. In 2004, they were born the #1 social media company that we know today, Now, what is the business model of social media? Anyone? Yes, exactly. But your name is? Okay. Let's say now Kashmir is in his Facebook account. Now he's posting a photo. If he posts a photo and Eric does not watch his photo, so nobody's watching his photo, there is no creation of value. Why? Because what a social media sell the impression. You're familiar because you buy impression when you try to sell product online. No? So Kashmir is doing a post. Eric is watching that post. This is creating what is called one impression. Now, in the advertising world, 1,000 of these impressions are called CPM, and the CPM is what basically a social media sells. So when you buy advertising online, you buy through CPM. 1,000 views cost, but the 1,000 views are created by Kashmir to post, Eric watch. So this is creating one of the 1,000 impressions. Now, many of these impressions is creating the CPM. It's creating what they sell. So in 2008, YouTube invented the possibility that if Kashmir is posting in YouTube, he can open his Kashmir YouTube account and he posts all his video in his house doing whatever he wants. Now, if Eric is watching it, and he have his own YouTube channel, YouTube share a part of that revenue, that CPM revenue, with Kashmir. So this is the 2008 business model, which I think is almost fair. So in 2018, I say, if in 2004 was invented the social media business model, which is still the same, where basically Kashmir and Eric, they are working for free for social media. I consider them free worker. All of us, if now we are sending a text on WhatsApp, on everything, or we are scrolling down on Instagram, we are free worker. We are working for free because we are creating the impression, which another company is selling and making money on top of us. This is very clear, no? Because if there is a platform and there is no Kashmir, no Eric, or no whatever, there is no creation of value. So in my point of view, the 2004 business model, I call it as a legal fraud because it's totally unfair. The 2008 business model, where Kashmir can open his YouTube account and make some money, is almost fair because at least who posts is getting something back. But what I think is really fair is to change completely the vision of how the internet world works. And now I ask you a question. If there is a platform and there is Eric post, Kashmir post, and Eric does not watch, so you have 0 view, there is creation of value? There is no creation of value, because if Kashmir post and nobody watch, there is 0 creation of value. So Eric, which is the one which is watching, how important is Eric? Very important. So what are the 3 elements now which are creating value? The platform doing the hosting, because we need a platform, Kashmir doing a post, Eric watching. When these 3 things are together, there is a creation of value. If these things are not together, there is 0 creation of value. Now, this was my thought in 2018. Now, I tell this to someone, and someone very important in the social media industry and in the pay TV channel, they told me that, Andrea, you're crazy, nobody care about. I say, okay. I went to my office, I spoke with my CMO in LA, and I say, please, do a research and ask to people, two categories of people below 20 years old and people above 50 years old, this following question. So we start contact all these young people, and we start ask to young people, and we did a list of famous social media, free or not? Guess how much percentage of people below 20 years old and checked box on, of course, no. Of course, they are not free. People below 20 years old in USA. How much? 50? 2%. So 87% of people say, of course, it's not free. Below 20 years old. Now, above 50 years old, guess how many people say, of course, it's free? Above 50. 93% of people above 50 say, yes, it's free. So they believe WhatsApp is free. If WhatsApp is free, how WhatsApp have a business behind, no? No, but to make you understand how naturally people below 20 born in the internet, they naturally understand we're being exploited. And people above 50, super smart people who have huge business, or people in any case, they have more knowledge, they don't get it, no? So I say, wow, this is an amazing information. Now I need to start build my business idea behind that. And there I started build this platform, which is called Tata2, which now we're going to IPO in Paris in September 21st. And they gave me a very good evaluation, because now it's worth 1.6 billion, but I hope can be worth much more and can become the next big things. Now I have all the big company against me, because I'm the one who pay people for that, and all the other, they don't. So I know we will have big challenge in our life, but in any case, education and the evolution, innovation cannot be stopped. You can try to stop it as much as you want, but actually you will not be able to stop it. So this is, I think, what is the future of the video content, which is directly connected with e-commerce and sales of product online. Because in our system, what we do, we reward people for this time, but we give them, we are the bank. So we print our own virtual currency, and then we push them to spend this virtual currency where we want. So yeah, I don't know if any one of you go in London often. You know Mercato Metropolitano? So this is a big place of food where you can go inside and you can buy food. You can buy pizza, gelato, etc., etc. So basically in London, but we are exporting this concept everywhere in the world, you are in your social media in Tata2, Kashmir is doing his post, Eric is watching, and now Kashmir going his social media, and you see at 200 meters, I can go to now buy a pizza, thanks for me posting and Eric watching. And he go inside of Mercato, and now he's buying a pizza or basically a gelato. So he's now monetize his value, which he created, via this action. No? And Eric can do exactly the same things, because he was the one which was watching. And the same story we do, of course, in internet, because we have e-commerce and basically auction. If he does not have a Mercato nearby, he can go online and basically buy a product. We have an e-commerce component. So now we're giving people the possibility to buy product
with euros or with your currency?
With our currency, but which is connected with the US dollar. So one coin is not stable coin because it's a private coin system. So it's not listed, is private. Each of these coins is worth 25 cents of a dollar. Now, the critic can be, oh, but I don't have many options, because now they have only 3,000 products which they can buy online, and they have only X mercati which they can welcome only 5 million people every year. So but the point is, as the community grow, the circular economy grow. So where you can go to spend this token and
So the merchant has to be enabled to accept this coin. He has to be part of, he has to be enrolled.
we have an agreement with the merchant. So the merchant have a product, and we do an agreement. But all this is power and monetized by people. So people are creating value, and people are getting back 66%, 60.7% of this value in all this way. So basically, we are creating a community and driving this community where we want. And this is, I think, is an amazing, because now I did the example of a social media, which is easier, but we do exactly the same with a movie. You watch a movie, you earn $2. So we knew we watch a movie, we need to pay $8. Now you watch a movie, you earn $2. So it's totally changing not what people was used to see before. Oh, it's free, or I pay for. Now our goal is to give the best service we can for free, and we pay you. So we want to offer the best you can by getting paid, because we value yourself. And you don't need to be a famous guy to now earn, because if Eric is super famous, if Kashmir is super famous and he have 10 million followers, then he can go to MasterCard. They say, I'm giving you a post on my social media, give me $5,000, $10,000, he can make some money. But if Kashmir, you have only 10 followers, he cannot make any money. So he's exploited completely. So why we should not give a Kashmir the possibility to earn what he deserves? If you have only Eric follow him, at least he earn from Eric. So it's like democratizing the internet and the data. So this is one thing which I believe is the future.
I just downloaded the data.
Okay, very good. So downloading this way for you. So yeah.
What do you think? Should Kashmir and Eric go into business together?
Exactly. Indirectly, they are business together. Yes, exactly.
What's all your costs?
So, do you have any question about that?
Only to follow Kashmir after
Yeah, follow. Yeah. So this is one part of the business I'm doing, and then on the video content part. So if you ask me if I believe in advertising, I don't believe in advertising. I don't believe in traditional advertising. We have 5 million clients in our mercato. We never spent $1 in advertising. We have another 4 million something clients in our three-party reward. We never spend $1 in advertising. So in the end, I don't believe in traditional advertising, but I believe in an experience which drive you inside and you make other people come. No, a little bit what was saying before, Marco, when they make the queue, no, and etc. So I have my own view about advertising, but so this is in the way we do our business. So now going. I want to tell you one more thing about space. One other business which I'm doing, and this was my dream, but was too early before. So we only launched this in 2021 in the market, because the space transportation is becoming cheaper and cheaper. So to go in space now is much more cheaper than before. Not cheaper enough, but will become cheaper, because I saw how the three main companies are building rocket, so this is becoming more and more basically accessible. I had this idea many years ago, but now it's becoming a reality. I'm building sport space Liga. And the first one which we're doing is called MMA 0G. So we are, I don't know if you're familiar with MMA, mixed martial art. The most famous is UFC. So we are doing UFC basically, but with a different brand called MMA 0G Galactic Combat in space. And what we do is actually very simple. So we build a reality show behind fighters. We invented a new way to do a space training, like they are basically astronauts, but it's a little bit more complicated because they go in space and they get bunched, no? So it's more dangerous than just be basically an astronaut. And then we put this guy inside of a rocket, before inside of a parabolic flight, which is in the way you recreated zero-G without going space, and which are the first 6 flights. And the last flight, we put them inside of a rocket, and then we launch this rocket outside. We don't do the transportation part, and we do, no, I don't know if you do in space, but we already have a partner now, which is the main one who does the same things for NASA, etc., etc. So we put them inside of a rocket, and in the rocket they do the last fight. So they go in space, they're in zero-G, and you see this guy flying around, they're fighting, like they bunch themselves from, because there is no weight, so there is a zero-G, of course. So this is, and we have another 49 of these sport liga. So that is another business, but does not have anything to do with selling product for now. So and on the video content part, and then I will leave the things to Peter. My thought in 2017 was the following one. People are escaping from cable to going more and more and more in internet. Now, all these people is going in internet, so you're watching people going from cable, from classic to internet. One other factor is you are watching people going from, in the internet world, going from big screen to mobile. So, and then one of the big things which we are seeing a huge increasing of spam attention. All of us are affected and we don't know. If you want, I can give you an example. How many of you have an Instagram account? Okay, almost everybody. This is a very good statistic now, which confirms. So now, how many of you watch the story in Instagram? Almost everybody. Okay. Now, how many of you does a swap the majority of the time before the story finish? Everyone, basically. Okay. So now, how long is that story? 15 seconds. Now, if I ask you why you don't wait 15 seconds, I already know the answer, but let's see the answer. Why you don't wait 15 seconds?
It is long time.
Too much, okay. Somebody other?
You're impatient for dopamine. You're impatient for dopamine.
Okay. This is another answer. Okay, so we have two examples of the main example. I don't have time, and she said the post is not interested enough. In reality, she's saying the post is not interested enough, but in reality, inside of you have, because we did the statistic, maybe in your case it's different, we are not the same, but over 80% of people does a swap before the story ends, and the majority of people say, I don't have time, and the majority of people say, oh, maybe that was not interested. Then you go to check the statistic on their phone. I don't know if someone would like to share a statistic, but if you see the statistic, you see you are at least 1 hour and a half on Instagram in one day, in some country 2 hours and a half, but they believe they didn't have time to wait 15 seconds. So you spend 2 hours and a half, but you don't have 15 seconds, okay? Tum, 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 tum. So if you think about these 3 elements, I say, wow, what I'm doing is such an old thing. So who have the time to watch 100 minutes movies? No? It's a huge commitment, no? And then I was speaking with a Chinese friend in Milano, and we were speaking about a movie. And she said, oh, yes, I watched the movie. And then we started speaking about the movie. And then I realized she didn't know really the movie, but she knew only the content. And I say, Ian, tell me the truth. Have you watched this movie? He said, Andrea, no. She became red. I say, and how you know the story of the movie? Because in China, she said, we have influencers who take movie, they cut the movie in 10 minutes, and then they say something. So in 10 minutes, you watch a movie. When you are on a table, you say, I watched the movie, oh, it's so interesting. And they say, but why you do that? Hey, I don't have time, so 100 minutes, 10 minutes is easier. I say, wow, this is an amazing information. So I say, we must produce short content. So now, in the short content world, it's very difficult to find the right language. Another guy, which I think is a genius, I totally respect this guy. His name is Jeffrey Katzenberg. By trying producing short video content, he fired 1 billion point 3. So when I was find the way to do short content, I was watching this guy experience in short content. I say, wow, I cannot fire 1 billion point 3. No, so I say, how I can invent something which works. So now, Jeffrey Katzenberg, which is a genius guy, the mistake he have done is, I think, very simple. You know, in USA, Kardashian, the Kardashian, super popular, no? They are very popular in internet, but they are followed mainly from people who at home is used to watch a show, no, and of them, the family. And what he did the short format of that show. That is not the way where you can vehiculate the traffic for people like us, which we really don't have time. Because if we have 1 hour, we're watching TV at home. So it's a different type of public. So he did a huge mistake on selecting the actual product. So we started our own adventure on saying how we can make a short content something which can be very successful, as we do, because our short content, thanks God, are super successful. And actually now we do 85% of our revenue come from short content. So we invented the best way possible to do a short content, starting with a product which is likable for kids and family in the animation. And we are exploiting this concept now in live action too. Now I'll give the word to Peter, because he's the head of the animation studio which we have in Serbia. So thank you, and this is my story.
Dobro dan. I'm going to stay seated because my leg fell asleep while listening to Andrea. And I'm getting the cue because the producer spoke, so I have a limited amount of time. I'll try and speak slowly but be quick about it. Dobro dan. So we are producing short content. I'll explain real quickly how I met Andrea. I was a creative director of a studio in Canada, that's where I'm from, and we had a technology studio in Singapore, and I left that. I just wanted to work in animation. And I met Andrea, and we were getting into animated films, but before then, there was a VFX film that he wanted to get all the VFX done for. And I didn't want to do it, but I wanted to make an olive branch, a goodwill gesture, and so I did what's called a VFX breakdown. Essentially, that's going through the film and evaluating what VFX need to be done and how much it's going to cost and what roles and who you would have to hire. And I was quite extensive. I wanted to make a good impression, and I gave it to him. I said, listen, take this. This is for free. I want to work on the animated film when it comes up. And he says, no, you're the guy. And I don't know, I'm not the guy. He goes, no, you're the guy. And so I ended up doing the VFX division of the company, and we built a studio in Canada doing various visual effects for a bunch of films. Around 2015, actually, one of the films we did was Lamborghini, the story of Ferruccio Lamborghini, and while we were filming, or before we were filming it, just doing the prep work for it, January 1st, Andrea called me and says, I need you to go to Italy and work with the director to figure out how we're going to do this film. And I said, it's New Year's here, it's January 1st. He says, okay, go tomorrow. And so I flew there, and I was working with the director in Bologna. And then Andrea called our head of production, Danielle, and he says, listen, I need you to send Peter to Italy where I need you to work, he needs to work with a scriptwriter for this next movie. And she says, Andrea, you've sent him already, he's already there. And he goes, oh, that's wonderful, Figo, it's terrific, he's already there. That's his takeaway. It was a good thing for him. My takeaway is he forgot where he sent me. And so I came back, we started the film, and we opened up the studio in Canada to do an animated film called, at the time it was Arctic Justice. It's now since called Arctic Dogs. Great cast. It was Jeremy Renner, Omar Sy, Angelica Houston, John Cleese, and it was as well as any other of the larger production studios for animation. Now, to create this animated film, you have to build this entire library of characters, of locations, of props, all the visual effects, and it's quite a repository. So we had it done, and around, the good news about the studio when we're doing the animated film, especially in Canada, is Canada, I don't know if you know, has a large talent pool for animation, one of the best, frankly. But a lot of Canadians, like the doctors or animators, they go to the States because they get paid more and it's a better quality of life. And there isn't many projects within Canada that attract them to stay. And this film allowed us to retain a lot of that talent in Canada while working domestically, and they wouldn't have to leave their home or the lifestyle that they're accustomed to. And so we finished the film, and it did really, really well on Netflix. I think it was number 3, and it was a huge success in that way. Around the same time, the short content market, and I think Andrea touched upon it. So since in the spirit of brevity, I won't go into it, but the short content market was booming. And so Andrea thought, this is a market that we should move into. We should take what we're doing and then apply it, specifically animation, into this short content. Said, okay, great. Do you want to do it here in Canada? And he says, I'm not sure quite yet. And then Corona came, and the COVID situation. And I said, okay, well, are we going to scale our studio down? He goes, no, we're going to do the exact opposite. And I said, well, and this is a testament to what Andrea was really sort of visionary about, in so much as, well, a lot of other companies were scaling down and moving operations remotely. Andrea saw that, says, let's do the opposite for investors. Let's find new opportunities. He also said that with a lot of these people being home or working remotely, they're just going to demand content. They're going to want to absorb a lot of it. And the more we can produce, the more of it we can give them. And so we set up a studio in Italy, and we started a short content series, leveraging from the material that we built on the film. So what we're able to do is take all that stuff that we were working on, optimize it for short content, and then start making, optimize it for the platform, and then started making short content. In addition, to make the film, we need a pipeline. Just by show of hands, how many people know what a pipeline is? Okay, good. This is a well-versed audience. For those of you who are unfamiliar, it's just a process. So it's hardware, software, personnel, and procedure to make sure your film gets delivered on time, on budget, and consistently, right? So for example, if we take McDonald's, McDonald's pipeline is that they guarantee burger from window to pickup in 2 minutes. Not only that burger, but if you have it in Croatia, or if you have it in Singapore, it's going to take exactly the same, or it's going to taste exactly the same. That's their pipeline, right? And they invent technologies like a gun that can shoot ketchup and mustard at the same time, which saves 2 seconds. If you times that by 1 million burgers, that's 2 million seconds. So that pipeline ensures both to your investors and the team that you're able to produce this animation. So we had this pipeline, we had these assets, and we were able to repurpose them to start creating this short content. Additionally, we were able to take talent from Italy that weren't familiar with this kind of process before and generally plug them into this process and make it happen. And it did really, really well. And then Andrea came to, or arrived in Serbia, I think for a film festival, and then was stuck here, or stuck there. And so he called me up and he says, you know what we did in Italy? I said, yeah, we made a studio to make short content. And he says, I want to do the same thing there in Serbia. I want to take the material that we have, take our pipeline, implant it here, and create new short content as well. And I said, oh, that's great, that's fantastic. And he says, I want you to go to Serbia. I said, okay. I said, you're not going to forget about me because you sent me to Italy and forgot about me. And he says, no, I won't forget, I'll be here. I arrived, and he was there. I started, and Andrea left once they opened up the border. So we took our pipeline and our IP and started working animation. And one of the questions they asked at the time is, why Serbia? Why not something more maybe economically friendly in Malaysia or Laos or some of the other outsourcing partners? And what we found is that the region has 2 things that are really important for computer animation specifically. One is you need a talent pool of people who really have a strong artistic pedigree. So some of these other countries haven't been doing really great art for a long period of time. They're just not familiar with it. Or the opposite, they have been doing art, but they're not familiar with the technological demands of creating computer animation. It requires a lot to get it done. And the region here boasts some of the best technological structure and innovation, arguably for all of Europe and possibly the world. And so we had 2 ingredients that really made animation viable and likely to be successful within the region. Andrea spoke a little bit in the beginning about taking young talent who were otherwise not able to get an opportunity and now put them working with, in our case, Johnny Depp is one of the voices of our characters. I think you've seen the birds sort of fluttering around on the screens as well. And so this opportunity allowed this talent pool to come in and jump on this opportunity. And like I said, in Canada, the advantage is we have such great talent, but they all go overseas or they all go south of the border to work on more prestigious films. And in our case, the same thing here in the Balkans. What happens is you have such a great talent pool, but there isn't really the opportunity to work on such projects. Either they're doing boutique-style studios doing commercials for here and there, or they just travel abroad to work either United States, Germany, et cetera, and some of the other hubs. But most of the people generally like the lifestyle of the Balkans. I think it's a better life-work balance, and it's just chasing this opportunity that they move. And by bringing the studio where we did, one is in Belgrade, the other is in Novi Sad, we were able to work with the talent pool, give them projects that were going to be internationally known. In fact, I think our first series, Puffins Impossible, is picked up by Amazon, Amazon, Google, Amazon Prime, thanks marketing, and some really great stuff. We also found that our episodes, and Andrea spoke about it, so I'm not going to go over the metrics too long, but our episodes are 5 minutes long. So if you're doing a film, an animated film, which is about 90 minutes, it's going to take you 2 to 4 years to produce. So you work in a vacuum, you do everything that you have to do, you put it out, and then you cross your fingers and hope it does well. And so it's a lot of time and money invested in doing that. And that was a good sort of classic way of putting out content. With our episodes at 5 minutes, and the same thing with series, it's about 60 weeks to produce. For our short content, the episodes are about 5 minutes long, and with this, we're able to create an episode, focus group it, put it out, have people respond to it, see what it looks like, validate the things that are working, and the things that are not, we can remove, take it back, regroup, improvise it, revise it, and then put it out again. So we have this constant feedback loop of where we're able to see what we're doing, test bed it with our audience and the people who are accepting it, come back, rejig it a little bit, put it out, and have a higher success rate, and then we don't have to carry the inertia of that whole production, hoping that it's going to do well. And it did exceptionally well for our episodes. And so we finished, now it's our second year is going to be in, where's marketing? It'll be in second year at the studio, and we're going into season 3 of Puffins Impossible. We have another series also approaching as well. So I think the business model worked quite well, especially in the region, and we found that the talent is really excited, to be working on some of the projects with some of these stars, including Johnny. We invited him to come to Serbia and see it, and he loved it. I think his quote was, "This is the perfect opposite of Hollywood," which is wonderful and refreshing. And we were able to continue on and sell more of these series. I'm going to wrap it. Lastly, future plans. The other thing is the advantage of having such a strong IT sector, technology sector, is we're able to implant stuff or paradigms that they're using within you guys are using into our own animation pipeline because of the hybrid system that we have. And so it's improved and optimized our pipeline to work even better. Future plans is we're going to repurpose utilize some AI technologies, et cetera. So a lot of scenes in 2 ways. The first way, a lot of scenes within animated shows have characters walking from one location to another or taking a sled or whatever it is. Ours is in the Arctic, so they're using sleds. And these scenes, they're important, but they're not crucial for the story. So it requires an artist to go in, do the scene, get it done, put it out. We find that because we're producing it in 3D, we can use AI to sort of figure out which of these scenes are sort of seams or glue for other scenes, change the camera slightly, and populate it throughout our series, our episode. And that allows us to cut down how much time requires an artist to go in there and what automates it. And lastly is just AI analytics and metrics for what kind of content really works. So what happens is, as our kids, it's for a younger audience, specifically for these animated shows, are watching these episodes, our AI watches them. So it watches what kind of the episodes they like the most. It even watches which characters they pay more attention to. So you could ask them and say, which character do you watch the most? But there's a kind of cognitive dissonance, right? If you ask a little boy which character you like the most, he's generally going to say the boy character. But if he's watching one of the female characters because she's vivacious or sassy, he's not going to say that, right? But the AI recognizes it and gives us true analytics, and then we use that to build our episodes with much more viewer-based metrics, and allows us to make much more successful episodes. So that, in part, is about the short content. Like Andrea said, we're moving also into the space stuff, of which will also be exciting. Hopefully we can create that. I'm hoping I don't have to go there to record it, just because he'll forget me. And I'm excited about kind of what more we can do within the region, especially within this. Thanks again, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you.